everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I am filming a massive collective book haul because over the past few weeks I have been sent a lot of books and I have been buying a lot of books. I was on a book buying ban in October, so now that we're a few days into November I have probably brought like 15 books already, which is kind of crazy, but I wanted to give you a haul of everything all together so you can tell me what books that I should read first. I have my favorite energy drink here and I'm ready to get into the video. I feel like this will take me a while to get through, but I'm very excited about all of the books in this video. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video if you do enjoy it, because all the support really helps me out and helps my channel to grow. But without rambling on, let's just get straight into the video. Okay, so we have 30 books all up to go through. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one, but I don't want to talk about them too much because this video will literally go for hours otherwise. So the first one I am literally so excited about because I bought this secondhand and I took a massive risk buying this, and I'd been looking for this for literally months, and then someone messaged me on like an ISO post that I had up and they said that they had it and they only charged me 70 Australian dollars, which I think is like 40 US dollars. And if you know how much these are reselling for, you'll know that that is a really good price that I got it for. I got the special Fairy Loot edition of Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I absolutely loved this book so much, and when I saw this Fairy Loot version I knew I just had to have it, especially the sprayed edges, because if you've read this book you'll know like the whole story is based around letters, and the artwork that is inside the book is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm literally obsessed with everything about this. I'll also show you the naked hardback as well. It just has like these gold detailing and then gold writing on the side, and when I tell you I like almost cried when I unboxed this and saw that I finally had it. Okay, the next book in this haul is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I honestly don't really know much about this book, to be honest, but I do know that it has really good reviews and I haven't really seen anything bad about this book. I do know it's kind of hit or miss if people like it or not. I personally haven't seen anyone dislike it that I take reviews from and take recommendations from. Okay, the next one was actually sent to me as a surprise from a publisher. So it was sent to me by Hachette Australia, and they sent me The Hurricane Wars by Thea Gwanzon. So this book is absolutely stunning. Like, look at the cover on this book. I'm literally obsessed. And it is a fantasy, so I'll tell you a little bit about it because I hadn't even heard of this book until it showed up at my front door, and I'm so intrigued by it. So it says, Taliesin was left on the steps of an orphanage as a baby with deadly light magic as her only inheritance. All she has ever known is the Hurricane Wars as her people fight against the tyranny of the Night Empire, and she struggles to hide the gift that ignited the conflict. So I'm assuming she's like really powerful and like she's the reason why a lot of bad things are going on in the world, but of course I have to read it to find out what it's actually about. It also has like one of these little like moving pictures. You probably can't see it well in the video, but that just heals my inner childhood. I remember I used to see books with this all the time when I was younger and I loved it so much. Then the next two books are small town romances, and they were actually sent to me by the author. So they were sent to me from J. Daniels, and these are part of her Alabama Summer series. So we have Where I Belong and All I Want. So these are the first two books in the series, and when I tell you I am obsessed with the covers of these, like look how gorgeous these covers are. I'm literally so in love with the flowers on the covers. Like, they just look so perfectly, and I've heard people say that these are like similar to the Chestnut Spring series, which I haven't actually finished, but I did love the first book in that series, so I feel like I'm really gonna love these as well. And she also signed them for me, which just makes it extra special. Okay, the next book I have is actually a poem book that was also sent to me from the author. So it is He Loves Me Not Enough by Cami Dennis. I have read a couple of poem books and I really liked them because I love how they kind of tell a story as you go, and they also very much pull at my heartstrings. I feel like poem books are often very emotional and I really love that, and this one looks like it's going to be emotional. I've seen some of the quotes that she's posted on her Instagram and they just look quite deep, so I'm very excited to get into this. The next one we have is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I have heard amazing things about this book for probably like a year now. I think it's about a witch by the looks of it. It says on the front, never mix vodka and witchcraft, so I'm assuming she like does some sort of witchy things, but it's not actually like a fantasy. I think it's more of like a romance book, and it's also quite a short book, so I feel like it'd be really easy to get through. Okay, the next book I bought randomly the other day, but I've really been wanting to read an Agatha Christie book, so I got A Haunting in Venice. And I didn't know Big W sold any Agatha Christie books, but when I saw this one, and this is the one that I've been wanting to buy, I just had to buy it straight away. So I think everyone has probably heard of Agatha Christie, except I've never read an Agatha Christie book, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about them. I feel like the language may be kind of hard to understand and read read, but I'm just gonna take my time and I'll read it eventually, and I think that when I do I will really enjoy it. The next book I bought was Weapon by Lynette Noni. So I actually read Whisper in October and absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star read for me, and this is the second book in that series. It's only a duology, but the first book did really set up for a good second book, so I feel like this one's going to be even better. And I had to put off buying this for a couple of weeks when I was on my book buying ban, but now I could finally buy it and I'm very excited to get into this very soon. The next book I got was Praise by Sarah Kate, which is a part of the Salicious Players Club series. And honestly, I don't really know much about this book. I feel like it is a dark romance, but I could be wrong, so definitely correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I feel like it could be like some sort of mafia romance, because like Salicious Players Club does sound like that. I think this book is like really spicy. I'm very excited to go into it and see what I think about it. But yeah, I don't really know much about it, to be honest, other than that it's very spicy, so take that as you will. That might make a lot of people buy it single-handedly, so we'll see. Then I got The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. So I've said this so many times, I have almost read every single one of Frida McFadden's psychological thrillers, including this one, but I've been slowly trying to buy them because I've read them all on Kindle Unlimited. I do have the first Housemaid book as a physical copy, and I just had to buy the second one as well when I saw it and I was off my book buying ban, because obviously I want to buy all of her books. I have loved all of them, so I feel like having them on my shelf is like a trophy that I've almost finished them all. So if you haven't read a Frida McFadden book, I highly recommend The Housemaid duology. There's actually a third book coming out next year as well, so definitely read the first two before that one comes out. It's going to be amazing. Then I had 2 books sent to me from a massive author, and I was so surprised and shocked when she messaged me. I literally like wanted to cry. I was like shaking. I was like, no way, this is real. I'm in a dream. So that is LJ Shen, who has so many amazing popular books out there. So she sent me Vicious and Pretty Reckless. I did think this one was a new release, but I think this is an older book with a new released cover, and I'm obsessed with the cover of this book. Like, it is so beautiful. There's something about it that is just so perfect. Like, I just want to read this book instantly because of the cover. And she also signed them for me, which just makes it 100 times better. So I'm so happy that I have another 2 books from her on my shelf. Then the next 2 books are from Lauren Jackson. So I've got Die For You and Meant To Be. Someone sent Die For You to me off my Amazon wishlist, which I'm so grateful for. It is a vampire romance. I really wanted to read it in October, except I was in a massive slump all month, so I didn't get to it. But I am still very, very excited to get to this, and so grateful to the person that sent this to me from my Amazon wishlist. And then I also bought her other book from Big W myself, so this one is Meant To Be. I do feel like both of these books are going to be absolutely amazing. I've heard nothing but good things about this author, and she is Australian as well, which makes it 100 times better. The next book I have is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. So this is the same author that wrote The 7-Year Slip. If you have seen that book, it's been talked about everywhere at the moment, and I personally really liked The 7-Year Slip. I gave it 4 stars, and from the synopsis of the story, I feel like I'm going to like this one more. I'm just anticipating this will be a 5-star read to me, but I probably shouldn't say that because then I might let myself down if it's not a 5-star read. The next book is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I have been seeing this book talked about absolutely everywhere, and I've also been looking for it everywhere. I had to go to a few different bookstores to actually find it. So I think this is part of a trilogy, and I've seen Rachel Catherine talk about this book a lot recently and how much she loved it, and I feel like with her recommendations they're very similar to my taste in books. So whenever she likes a book, I like it. Whenever she doesn't like one, I also have the same opinion. So I definitely take her opinions very seriously on books. So when I saw that she rated this 5 stars, I had to buy it straight away. It is a sci-fi and it's about superheroes, so we'll see how I feel about that. I feel like it's kind of intimidating, but once you get into it, it's really good. The next book in this haul is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. So as I said earlier, I really liked Whisper, and I had to buy Weapon after that as well because I really want to go into that. So because I enjoyed Whisper so much and enjoyed Lynette Noni's writing, I just thought that I'd go and buy the start of another series. I think this is also part of a trilogy. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes I say things and then I look it up as I'm editing and I realize that I'm completely wrong. So yeah, we'll see what I think when I actually read it. Then I got Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, which is a thriller, and I'm in like a really weird reading slump at the moment, and I feel like thrillers are the only thing that I want to read. I'll probably read this soon. I've heard amazing things about this. I actually bought it specifically because of a recommendation from Mads Rafferty. She is a small indie author in Australia, and I just love her recommendations as well, and her her content. So when she recommended this and said how much she loved it, I was just waiting to buy it the whole month of October, so now I can finally read it. The next book I literally searched everywhere for. I called so many bookstores to see if they had it in stock, and I finally found a place that's almost an hour from my house, but I had to go and get it. So that is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I have seriously like heard nothing but amazing things about this book. There is a second book out as well, but they didn't have the second book in stock, otherwise I would have bought it while I was there. So I am literally just so excited to go into this and read this. I honestly don't even know much about what it's about. I just know that it is a fantasy. I like going into books completely blind, and I'm just so excited to go into this one and annotate it as well, because I just get the feeling that it's going to be one of those books that you have to annotate. The next two books were sent to me from the author as well. So the first one is Sweet Baby by Teddy Jovial, and I'm obsessed with the cover of this book. I love the tulips on it. Tulips are like my favorite flower ever, so to have that on the cover just attracts me instantly. And then the other book that was sent to me from the author was The Unseelie Bargain by R.A. Bowling or Bowling. This looks absolutely amazing. So this is a fantasy book, and I'm obsessed with the cover of this book. When I first read it, I thought it said unseen, but it actually says unseelie, as I just said. Then the next two books I'm literally so beyond excited about. I'm literally just... it's like my most anticipated read of the whole year, and that is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. As you can see, this is a really big paperback. For some reason in Australia we get really big paperbacks, and then about a year later they release a normal sized paperback, and when I saw this in store I just had to buy the bigger paperback. And I already had the second book, which is The Ballad of Never After, in a bigger copy, so these two match each other. And then I knew I had to find someone selling the large paperback of the first book in the series, and somehow I managed to find someone the same day that I put a post up on Facebook looking for it. So I also got the bigger paperback of Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. If you know how difficult this is to come by, I don't know if it's around the world or just in Australia, but in Australia you cannot get this anywhere. Like, you have to buy it secondhand, and I'm so glad that I have this in my life, because now the three books match together and they're going to be on my shelves actually matching. Look how perfect these spines look together. I'm literally so excited. I have read Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After at the start of this year, but I'm planning on finishing the Caraval trilogy, rereading these and heavily annotating them, and then going into the new book, which is A Curse for True Love, because I really just want to get the rest of Stephanie Garber's world and just refresh my memory so I have the best time going into the third book. Then we have Home for Christmas by Camilla Isley. She actually sent this to me herself from my Amazon wish list. So this is a Christmas book, and I'm so excited to read this because we're going into like the holiday season now, which means a lot of Christmas book reading, which is something that gets me in the Christmas spirit so much. So I feel like I'm going to be reading a lot of Christmas books this year. And it says, would you share a bed with your enemy to save Christmas? So I'm very excited to see how she does the one bed trope, because sometimes it's very hit or miss, but I have high hopes and I'm very excited to get into this. And then someone else sent me another book from my Amazon wishlist, so they sent me Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, which is another Christmas book. I am literally so excited to go into this one. It is a new release this year and I've been seeing it absolutely everywhere. And then another book that was sent to me from my Amazon wishlist, we have Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare. So this is Cassandra Clare's first adult fantasy book. I know she writes a lot of YA fantasy, and I personally haven't read anything from her before, but I know a lot of people are obsessed with her and love her writing and love her other series, so I'm very excited to get into this one. We have The Summer at Pine Lake by Alyssa Del Palm. This was actually sent to me from Alyssa herself. This was actually the first ever ARC that I ever received, and I received it electronically, so I read it on my Kindle and I absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars, so she ended up sending me the physical copy when it came out, and I'm just so happy to have this in my life because it's just like one of those milestones that I'm always going to remember as my first ever ARC. And this book just gives the Summer I Turn Pretty vibes. I absolutely loved it, and it was really quick to read because it's like 200 pages. And the last book we have in today's haul is Tonight I Burn by Catherine J. Adams. This was actually sent to me from Hachette Australia, which is a publisher, and it is like a witchy romance. I'm very excited to read it this month because we just had like Halloween season, and I feel like it's still very much like spooky season and we can still read spooky season books. As I said, it is about a witch and it's also got a romance subplot in there, so I feel like I'm really gonna like this. I've never read like a witchy book before, so very excited to see what I think about this one. That was the 30 books in today's collective book haul. I'm literally so excited about all of these books. Thank you so much to everyone that has sent me a book from my wish list, or publishers and authors. It literally means the absolute world to me, and I couldn't have done that without all of you supporting me on my channel and my social media. So thank you all so much for constantly supporting me. It truly means the world to me. me. But with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next video.